Imagine just for a moment that you're standing in the midst of a bustling crowd. People are laughing, talking, and sharing moments, but you feel an overwhelming sense of being utterly alone. You try to connect, to engage, but there's a silent barrier that just doesn't seem to break. Now, think back. How often have you felt this way? Felt like even in a room full of people, you're an island, remote and disconnected? You might wonder if there's something wrong with you. Why do these simple things that come so naturally to others, making friends, forming deep relationships, seem like a mountain you just can't climb? But what if I told you that this solitude might actually be a sign of something deeper, something divine? What if your feelings of isolation are not a burden, but a badge of honor, a clear indication that you are set apart for a greater purpose that many might not understand? This isn't just about being introverted or shy. It's about a calling, a divine whisper that says you are meant for more, and sometimes that means walking a path few others can tread alongside you. Today we're diving deep into why the chosen ones, perhaps like you, are often alone. Not because there is no love around them, but because their journey requires spaces of solitude where profound growth and connection with God can occur. So, if you've ever felt alone, misunderstood, or out of place, I invite you to stay with us. Let's explore together the 7 reasons behind this solitude and how it shapes you into the person God intends you to be. Let's get started. One of the most profound reasons God's chosen ones often find themselves alone is divine protection. This concept may initially seem hard to grasp, especially when solitude can feel like isolation rather than protection. However, it's important to recognize that God's plans for us sometimes require a shield from potentially harmful influences that could deter us from our destined path. Divine protection isn't always about physical safety. It often pertains to our spiritual and emotional well-being. For those marked by God for special purposes, the journey includes preserving purity of heart and clarity of mission. This protection can manifest as a natural distancing from certain friendships and relationships that might not align with our spiritual growth or could lead us into temptation and sin. Think about it. How many times have friendships or relationships led you to compromise on your values? Or perhaps you felt the peer pressure that comes with certain social circles. For chosen ones, these aren't just social faux pas. They are diversions from a divine blueprint. By limiting these interactions, God isn't punishing us. He's preparing us. Consider Joseph, whose story is told in the book of Genesis. Joseph was isolated not only by being sold into slavery by his own brothers, but also through his unjust imprisonment in Egypt. Each step of his isolation was a form of divine protection, shielding him from lesser destinies and preparing him for his ultimate role as a leader who would save nations. His separation from family and familiar surroundings, painful as it was, kept him on a path that led to fulfillment of his God-given destiny. In today's world, divine protection might look like losing friends when you start to change your life and align it more closely with your faith. It could feel lonely to see old friends fade away as you grow closer to God. But remember, when God removes a distraction, it's often to replace it with a direction. This protection could also manifest as a gut feeling or discomfort in certain environments or relationships. These feelings are not random. They are signals guiding you away from potential harm and towards a safer, God-oriented path. If you find yourself losing friends or unable to form certain relationships, consider it might not be a rejection, but protection. God's protective hand may be hard to understand in the moment, but trust that He is safeguarding you from less than ideal situations. You are being preserved for your purpose. So, when you feel alone, remember that your solitude might actually be your shield. Embrace it as divine protection, knowing that God is intimately involved in your journey, ensuring that nothing derails His great plan for your life. Each moment of solitude is not a step away from others, but a step closer to the divine. In this light, solitude can be seen as a divine privilege, a necessary space where you are under God's watchful eyes, being prepared, protected, and propelled towards a destiny that only you can fulfill. The second significant reason why God's chosen ones often find themselves alone is due to intense personal development. This type of development is tailored by God and can require periods of solitude to facilitate growth and maturation in ways that are not possible amidst the constant noise of society. Personal development in a spiritual context involves refining character, enhancing spiritual wisdom, and deepening one's relationship with God. It often necessitates quietness, away from the distractions and influences of everyday social interactions. This solitude allows for introspection and personal encounters with God, where His teachings can deeply root without interference. Moses, a central figure in the Old Testament, is a perfect example of intense personal development through solitude. Before becoming the leader who would deliver the Israelites from Egypt, Moses spent 40 years in the desert tending flocks in Midian. This long period of isolation was crucial for shaping him into a leader with enough faith and strength to undertake God's extraordinary tasks. The quietness of the desert was where Moses encountered the burning bush, a pivotal moment not just in his life, but in the history of the Israelites. In today's fast-paced world, finding time for solitude can be challenging, but its importance remains. For those who feel set apart, embracing moments of solitude for prayer, meditation, and Bible study can lead to profound personal growth. These practices help in understanding one's divine purpose and aligning one's life accordingly. Personal development often involves overcoming challenges, and solitude can intensify these challenges by forcing us to face our fears and doubts directly. However, these challenges are not without purpose. They are designed to strengthen our faith and fortify our character, preparing us for future roles that only we can fulfill. If you're experiencing a season of solitude, consider it a time of personal development. Use this time to cultivate a deeper relationship with God and to understand His will for your life. Engage in spiritual disciplines like fasting, prayer, and scripture study. Reflect on the changes you are experiencing and how they are shaping you into the person God intends you to be. Embrace this season as one of growth and preparation. Remember, just as a seed must be buried alone in the dark soil to grow, our spiritual growth can also require periods of solitary refinement. During this time, your roots are growing deeper, your faith is becoming firmer, and your spirit is being strengthened. In conclusion, intense personal development is a key reason why chosen ones may find themselves alone. This solitude is not a punishment, but a profound preparation, a divine workshop where God crafts His greatest instruments. It's in these quiet moments that we are transformed and made ready for the extraordinary lives God has called us to lead. The third reason why God's chosen ones often find themselves alone is that they are destined for uncommon paths. Those who are called to fulfill unique and impactful roles may experience solitude as they are prepared for their extraordinary destinies. An uncommon destiny refers to a life path that is significantly different from the norm, tailored by God for specific, impactful purposes. Such destinies often require decisions, sacrifices, and a level of commitment that are not widely understood or appreciated by the general public. This can lead to feelings of isolation, as chosen ones may not resonate with the priorities and lifestyles of those around them. Consider John the Baptist, a pivotal figure in the New Testament. His life was marked by distinctiveness, from his ascetic lifestyle in the wilderness to his critical role in heralding the coming of Jesus. John's calling was far from ordinary, requiring him to live apart from societal norms, which facilitated a focus on his divine mission without the usual distractions of social or familial ties. In today's world, those with an uncommon destiny might find that their convictions or the demands of their calling set them apart. It could be a career that challenges societal norms, a ministry that reaches unreached people groups, or a lifestyle that prioritizes spiritual disciplines over secular success. These choices might not always align with the expectations of family, friends, or society, leading to a path walked in solitude. Embracing your uncommon destiny means accepting that your journey will be different and that it may be misunderstood by others. It's about staying true to your calling, even when it means walking alone. This solitude is not a sign of failure, but a necessary space to grow into the role God has ordained for you. If you find yourself frequently alone or misunderstood because of your choices or beliefs, consider whether it might be due to the uncommon nature of your destiny. Encourage yourself with the knowledge that great responsibility often requires great preparation, much of which happens in solitude. You are not alone because you are lost, but because you are being led in a way that not everyone can go. Take time to reflect on your life's direction and the deeper purposes that might be calling you to a path less traveled. Commit to pursuing your calling with courage and faith, trusting that God's plans for you are good and that He will equip you for every challenge ahead. In conclusion, the path of a chosen one is often solitary because it is uncommon. Just like John the Baptist, you may be called to prepare the way in the wilderness, making straight paths for others to find their way to God. Embrace your unique journey, knowing that your solitary walks are steps toward fulfilling the great destiny God has in store for you. Reason 4. Deep spiritual connection. This connection with God often demands solitude, a quiet place away from the distractions and noise of daily life where the divine conversation can occur uninterrupted. For those called to a close relationship with God, the depth of this connection can shape their entire existence. It involves more than occasional prayers. It's about continuous, ongoing dialogue with God, seeking His will and listening for His guidance. This level of communion can require periods of isolation where the soul can focus solely on the spiritual without the interference of worldly concerns. Jesus Himself, despite His ministry and impact, often withdrew to lonely places to pray. For instance, before selecting His disciples, He spent an entire night alone in prayer. These moments of solitude were crucial for His ministry and decision-making, showing the importance of solitary time in spiritual discernment and connection. In today's bustling world, finding solitude for deep spiritual connection is both a challenge and a necessity for those feeling called to a higher purpose. This may manifest as setting aside regular times for prayer and meditation, attending retreats, or simply creating a sacred space at home where distractions are minimized. Reason why chosen ones may find themselves alone. This solitude is not a drawback, but a necessary part of managing their unique perceptual gifts. It allows them to maintain their spiritual health and ensure they can continue to serve effectively in their divine calling. Embrace your need for solitude as a divine tool for preserving your sensitivity, which is vital for your role in God's plans. Reason 6. Preparation for future roles. Those called to significant tasks may find themselves isolated from others as part of their preparation process, equipping them with the skills, wisdom, and spiritual strength needed for the challenges ahead. For many biblical heroes and modern-day leaders, periods of solitude have been instrumental in preparing them for their roles. This preparation is not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about forming character, deepening faith, and aligning one's heart with God's will. It involves intensive training in the Spirit, which often occurs away from the distractions and influences of a busy social life. Consider Paul the Apostle, whose transformation from Saul to Paul involved significant periods of solitude. After his dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus, Paul spent 3 years in Arabia before beginning his ministry. This time was crucial for his spiritual formation and understanding of the gospel he would soon preach so fervently. In today's context, those feeling called to significant roles might experience similar periods of solitude. This might look like taking time away from usual social activities to focus on spiritual growth, engage in intensive study, or simply to pray and seek God's guidance. For those in leadership positions, this time can also be used to develop essential skills like decision-making, conflict resolution, and empathetic leadership. Solitude allows potential leaders to face their weaknesses and strengths without the mask that social interactions often require. It provides space to wrestle with personal doubts, fears, and aspirations in a way that deepens understanding and fortifies character. This process is vital to ensuring that when the time comes to lead, they are not only equipped with knowledge, but also with wisdom and integrity. If you find yourself in a season of isolation, consider how this time might be preparing you for future responsibilities. Embrace this period as one of significant growth and development. Use it to cultivate a deeper relationship with God, to understand more fully your calling, and to prepare your heart and mind for the tasks ahead. Reflect on the areas God might be calling you to grow during your solitude. What skills or spiritual qualities do you need to develop? How can you use this time to become the leader God intends you to be? Engage with scriptures that speak about preparation and growth, and seek mentors who can guide you through this process. In conclusion, solitude as preparation for future roles is a divine strategy used throughout history to equip God's chosen ones for their unique destinies. While it might feel lonely at times, this solitude is not empty. It is filled with profound purpose. It is a time when God molds and shapes you into the instrument He needs to carry out His grand plans. Embrace your solitude, knowing that it is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. The final reason why God's chosen ones often find themselves alone is due to their detachment from worldly matters. This detachment is not about disinterest or disregard for the world, but is a strategic focus on higher spiritual priorities that often do not align with mainstream society's values and pursuits. Worldly detachment involves a conscious decision to prioritize spiritual values over worldly desires and distractions. This could manifest in a lesser interest in material gains, fame, or social status. For the chosen ones, their hearts are set on divine purposes, which often requires a life that looks different from those around them. This difference can lead to solitude as they may not partake in common societal activities or value the same goals as their peers. Consider Daniel from the Old Testament, who was taken into Babylonian captivity, but chose not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. This decision was an act of detachment from the luxuries and temptations of his environment, allowing him to maintain his spiritual integrity and focus. Daniel's choices set him apart, often placing him in positions of solitude, but also in unique positions of influence and spiritual authority. In today's world, choosing to live a life detached from worldly values can mean making choices that are countercultural. It could involve decisions like opting out of certain types of entertainment, avoiding consumerist lifestyles, or prioritizing time for spiritual activities over purely social ones. These choices might isolate you socially, but are crucial for maintaining a clear focus on your spiritual journey. For those walking a path toward significant spiritual responsibilities, maintaining focus is crucial. The distractions of the world can easily dilute one's spiritual efficacy, leading to a compromised mission. Detachment helps safeguard one's spiritual goals and keeps the chosen ones aligned with their divine purpose, even if it means walking a lonelier path. If you find yourself often alone because of your spiritual choices, remember that your detachment is not a loss, but a gain in your spiritual journey. It's a strength that keeps you true to your calling and sensitive to God's direction. Embrace your unique path and know that your choices have eternal significance. While detachment is necessary, it's also important to find balance and ensure you are not isolating yourself unnecessarily. Engage in community activities that align with your values, connect with like-minded individuals, and find ways to contribute to society while maintaining your spiritual integrity. This balance will help you stay connected with the world you are called to serve without becoming ensnared by it. In conclusion, Worldly detachment is a defining characteristic of many of God's chosen ones. It's a deliberate focus on the eternal rather than the temporal, on divine purposes rather than worldly pleasures. This focus inevitably leads to periods of solitude, but also to a richer, deeper spiritual life. Embrace this detachment as a necessary part of your spiritual journey, knowing that it prepares you for the impactful role you are meant to play in God's overarching plan. As we conclude our exploration of the 7 reasons why God's chosen ones often find themselves alone, we hope you found reassurance and understanding in today's discussion. Remember, your solitude is not a sign of neglect but a mark of distinction, a preparation for greater things God has in store for you. Now, we turn to you, our cherished viewers. If this video has spoken to your heart, if you found resonance with the reasons discussed, we invite you to engage with us. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. How has solitude shaped your spiritual journey? What challenges and growth have you encountered during these times of alone? Your stories are invaluable, not just to us, but to others in our community who may be seeking guidance and affirmation in their own journeys. Don't forget to like this video if you found it enlightening. It helps more people find our content and join our growing community of faith. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, where we delve deep into the spiritual aspects of life and offer guidance and support for your faith journey. Lastly, consider sharing this video with friends or family members who might benefit from understanding these spiritual dynamics. Sometimes, knowing we're not alone in our experiences can make all the difference. Let's spread the word and support each other in our walks with God. Thank you for watching and participating in our community. Keep seeking, keep growing, and remember, even in the quietest moments, you are never truly alone. God is always with you, preparing you for your divine destiny. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless you.